Well, Sheffield, what a night and what a day that we have had. And thanks to the man who joins us now at the end of the day, um, from 6 o'clock this morning all the way through the day, you've been learning of the players returning and, in Sam Jones's case, coming to the Sheffield Steelers. Aaron Fox, the head coach, joins us. Aaron, someday, and you've laid all your cards out on the table in one hit, and the city's excited. We're all excited.
Yeah, I mean that was a fun day. It's been a long wait here. I think for the fans to get some sort of insight to what this team's going to look like when we're able to get back on the ice, and I'm assuming that there's been a pretty good feeling around the club and in the fans today. Good group coming back. I think we've created that core culture and that core group that we wanted to get back here and build off last year's Challenge Cup success. And I think for the guys coming back, there's still some unfinished business. We felt like we deserved more last year, and guys will be chomping at the bit to get back after it.
We started the day off with the confirmation, if you like, of the Dowd, the Davy Phillips, the Batower, the news of the guys that were already under contract. But I guess Robert Dowd, it'll be like actually making a new signing because you were without him for so much of last season.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about that a lot, during that run last year. Was he's just not a guy you can replace. You can't bring an import in and replace a Brit like that. He was on pace for 30 plus goals last year. I moved him up and down. We had him with Cons and Valley for a part of the year. We had him with Army and Nikolai for part of the year. And he's just one of those guys that wherever you slotted him in, you knew you were going to get production. I think the best thing about Dowdy is he plays with pace. He's not afraid to mix it up when he needs to. He's just a guy, and he's a shoot first guy. There's a lot of guys these days that want to make that extra pass and are perimeter guys, but Dowdy's shoot first, goal score mentality. And I mean, again, he's the best Brit in the league, for me. And really looking forward to having him back healthy. And that's going to be a guy who's going to be excited for to step on that ice. It's been a long one for him.
For sure. You talk about productivity. 10 a.m. this morning, Marco Valleran. 11 o'clock, Anthony DeLuca. And at midday, Brendan Connolly. Crikey, you've brought some productivity back there, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, I think, offensively with that group that we have coming back right now, there's a lot of offense in this core group coming back, which is important. All three of those guys, they played together for the last part of the year. Again, when you have three guys that day one play well together, that you can just start your lineup with, that's a pretty good feeling. One by one there with a guy like Valley, he was the first guy we signed last summer at that fan forum, and I knew Valley was going to be a special offensive player, but man, I give him some credit. He played some good two-way hockey for us. He killed penalties. He was relentless on tracking pucks. Really, really, really solid two-way player. I think he finished first or second when it was said and done in points per game. He had missed some time due to injury and some suspension there. So to have a guy like that coming back is huge. And then the chemistry him and Cons had, those two played together all year long. We had Dowdy up there, we had Deluxe up there, we had Ebbs up there with those two guys, and again, you can just count on production there. And then Cons, he's kind of that glue guy who, he's a guy that everybody hates to play against, but you love to have on your team. He creates so much offense for you, and again, does a lot of the little things right that go unnoticed in hockey games. Wins big draws, responsible defensively, and that's a pretty good trio. And then you have Deluxe there who did, the one thing I want to say about Deluxe is, I challenged DeLuca when we resigned him last year to get himself in shape and come in with a different attitude. And he did. He came in the best shape of his life. And you could tell from day one that he was dialed in and ready to go. He bought into what we wanted to do. I still think he can take another step that way defensively and in his two-way game. That's something we talked about at our exit meeting. He had said him and Valley had actually talked about it as well. And Valley was a little bit more like DeLuca early on in his career and figured out a way to to, to be a better two-way guy. And and hopefully Deluxe can take that next step because offensively, when Deluxe is going, he is pretty special, pretty special player. And he's good for 30 again next year for sure. So I like the group. Three really good players, three offensive guys, and a ton of pace there with Deluxe and Valley coming back too, which I love.
At 1 o'clock, we announced Sam Jones, our new signing from Five. But perhaps we should go back 24 hours to, if you like, yesterday's news about Ben O'Connor. The club confirming that Ben wouldn't be returning, that we couldn't agree terms with him. Is Sam Jones an immediate replacement for Ben? Are they different players, different roles, or is it just a coincidence, if you like, that on the day that Benny goes, Sam comes in a day later? What's the correlation there?
Well, I mean, the Jones deal was done a while ago, and at the time there was no correlation between Sam being a replacement for Benny. Different types of players for sure. Sam's a younger guy, and with unfortunately with Benny, this is a business. This is and sometimes it's not a lot of fun to have those types of conversations and situations, especially with a guy who's been in this club for so long. Um, you know, I, to be fair to Benny here, I don't want to air any dirty laundry in this type of forum, but I did ask Benny to take a pay cut. We had some guys coming back this year that were underpaid that we really felt we needed to get back signed that we announced today. And a couple guys also that are coming back that are imports took considerable pay cuts to come back. So it was just one of those things where we put an offer on the table to Benny that he wasn't okay with. That sat around for 3 to 4 weeks. We went back at it and kind of gave him a deadline on it, and he just wasn't happy with the offer. And that's if he's got other situations out there that he can jump into. He's a good hockey player. I actually really like Benny as a person. I hope he goes on to do good things. And unfortunately, just the nature of the business didn't work out in this situation.
So, what are you expecting from Sam Jones? What did you like about him that wanted you to coax him to Sheffield?
Well, Sam is, he's a big body, played big minutes up in Fife. He's a younger kid too. Like there's still some development in Sam that needs to be done. But I like that he played in all situations up there. I felt like there was three U25s that I felt that were real good players throughout the league. Um, and he was one of those guys. And we started those conversations quite a while ago. I watched a ton of film on him. I think he's going to be a real good player. Coming in on a 2-year deal, so we get a little bit of exposure there that way as well, and I'm pretty confident that he'll come in and do a good job for us. He's not going to be, a 40 to 50 point defenseman for us like Benny was at times here, but I think he'll come in and do a solid job and give us good minutes, and he can be a physical guy as well, and he will chip in offensively. He's got a good shot. Scored a 5-on-3 goal against us in our own building last year. So he'll be a good player.
2 o'clock, the internet went absolutely crackers. Tanner Eberle was your next signing, and I know he's a player that you rate very highly.
Yeah, I mean, Tanner's just one of those guys that you need on your hockey team, or a guy like him to win hockey games. He brings it every single night. You don't have to, again, one of those guys you just pencil in your lineup and you're going to get 110%. He's going to do the right things, make the right plays. You know, we're trying to create the right culture here, and Ebbs is one of those guys that drives that for us. He's not a real vocal guy, per se in the locker room, but there's times when you can just see him lift the bench with a hit, or burying somebody that's coming to hit him. Always gets to the hard areas, and love Ebbs as a player.
Yeah. Another player who made a huge impact last season was our 3 o'clock signing, Marek Chonsinski. And he did. He came in and it felt like he'd been there forever after 5 minutes, didn't he? And he enjoyed his time in Sheffield, and I know you were thrilled to get him back as well.
Yeah, Tron was. The funny thing about all this was everyone that we've announced today, this, we're done. And I want to say this too, because I'm having conversations with agents and other players, and at this point, it's kind of we're kind of waiting now on anything new to happen based on what's going to happen with the league and the official start date and that kind of thing. So all these signings got done before players even took off for home, other than Tron. Tron was a little bit later than that, but he's a guy who you can tell has played at the highest levels. You can tell right away with how his size, how well he skates, how physical he can be when he wants to. For a big guy, he moves around really, really good, thinks the game very, very well. And yeah, I felt like from the moment he got here, he was a top D in the league immediately.
Yeah. Normally, when players do their MBAs, they kind of do the MBAs and then retire and drift off into the sunset. But our 4 o'clock and 5 o'clock signings have been very different. 4 o'clock, Aaron Johnson; 5 o'clock, Big John Armstrong. And I think when you finish the MBA and then still to want to play, especially in Aaron Johnson's case, a guy with his background and pedigree, shows how much they enjoyed Sheffield, how much they enjoyed playing for you, and how much they just want to keep on winning again. Um, Two very experienced players, our 4 and 5 o'clock signings.
Yeah, I mean Johnny's coming back. I really didn't know if he was going to want to do another year or not. He's he's excited to not have to go to school. I can tell you that. He's excited to just focus on hockey. Some of the mornings, like I get in pretty early, and his car would be pulling in right about the same time as me, so he could get a workout in before he had to go to school on those school days. Um, and he's like, again, that culture that we're trying to create in our organization and in our room. He leads. He's leading the charge with Jono. You're never going to find a guy that's more fit, a better professional that is willing to pay the price and do things the right way every day. Like there's conversations I've had with other guys that'd be like, man, just try to emulate what Johnny does. Look at what this guy does coming to the rink every day. And this guy's played at the highest level, and the money he's making here isn't in comparison to what he's made in his career, and he's still the most professional guy that I've seen or I've been around. And for me to bring him back, it was a no-brainer. I thought when he was playing early in the year, he was outstanding. The broken finger, played a weekend, re-break the finger. It was hard on Johnny. And when he came back, I think he pushed it a little bit towards the end there, and I'm excited to get him into training camp and have him for a full year, because I love how hard he plays, and you can't replace that type of leadership and versatility. So he's key guy for us coming back, especially for the character and culture of our room. And then with Army, he was our only natural center last year. He took probably 50% of the total draws on the year. Again, can play him in every situation, killed penalties, power play, 5-on-5, 4-on-4, 3-on-3. So he's just one of those guys. He plays a big, heavy game. I thought his best hockey was against Cardiff, Belfast, and Nottingham last year. He's just one of those guys that rises to the occasion against the better teams, and it showed in that Challenge Cup final game. Like I thought he was, Cons had a pretty nice game too, but Army was right there, with having an excellent hockey game for us. So it's great having those two guys back again, two veteran guys that have been there and done that. And both guys want to win. They want to win. That's why they're coming back. Hockey's fun. We try to make it fun for the guys. We had a fun year last year. It was fun to win, and I think that taste is in everybody's mouth. That's coming back, and everybody wants more.
One of my great memories from that Cardiff was Aaron Johnson, and you somehow forget because he's played the NHL, he's played in one of the huge DEL teams, and then he comes to little old England, but he wins, and you forget that these guys perhaps haven't won championships before or haven't been part of those big occasions. And for a man like him to be as excited as he was in Cardiff after winning shows that that's why he still plays the game.
No, absolutely. That was we've had some good conversations after that, and I think that was a big reason why he wanted to come back as well. That taste, that's such a good feeling that some people may want to ride off into the sunset after winning your last game and holding a trophy. But others, you want more. You know what I mean? You love that feeling. That's what you play for. That's what you work so hard for. And for Johnny, the school was hard on him. The injuries were hard on him. I think he's just excited for a fresh start. We'll get him in with a clean mind, and he'll run everybody out of the gym when he comes in. So
we talk about, if you like, Armstrong and Johnson, the huge experience of Jonathan Phillips. If we can go back to the beginning and the younger kids, Cole Schuger signing the two-way with the Steel Dogs with Alex Graham, subject to the draft. Explain your position with the youngsters and why it's perhaps better for them to go out and get some ice time elsewhere.
Well, I'd love to be able to give the kids some more ice time, and I think Alex Graham is going to be a heck of a player. I'm hoping that he can take. We've had a couple conversations over the summer here, and I hope he can take that next step. I hope he's working his tail off this summer to put on a little bit more muscle, build up that leg strength a little bit, so his skating improves. But he's got a very, very high ceiling. His hockey IQ is through the roof. Extremely skilled, willing to play with some jam. It's just sometimes when you have the regular season here in the UK, that means more than everything else. Sometimes the youngsters take a back seat to winning on a nightly basis, and you know, um, credit to them. When they get an opportunity, they got to really make it count because it's sitting in my shoes with the pressure of you know I talk about winning. I came here to win. That is my priority. I think it's the organization's priority. I think more times than not, it's the fans' priority. I know that you will have some fans that believe in the development of the young kids, but I don't believe they believe in the development of the young kids over winning. Um, so there's a fine line there on how to develop kids properly at top clubs. And for a guy like Cole was a model player for me last year. He probably didn't play as much as he would have liked, probably didn't play as much as I would have liked to play him, but came to work every day with a smile on his face, worked his ass off. When he didn't play much, there was never any negative energy that came my way or that was shown. And for to have a guy like that who's taking a two-way deal, and if we can use him, we'll use him. Grammer will be there, and Sam Jones is a young kid too. Like, let's not forget, he's not coming in as a huge veteran guy. He's a young kid that, will have to earn his stripes, and he'll get his ice time early, and hopefully he takes it and runs with it. But
Yeah,
it's not easy. You know what I mean? Like that's the hard side of this is it's not easy when you're trying to win a championship from day one.
yeah. What's your main priority to fill the rest of those gaps? You talked about John Armstrong being the only natural centre. Is a couple of centremen pretty high up on your list of priorities?
Yeah, absolutely. I felt like we found a way to get through. Like, Cons can play the middle. I think he prefers the wing, but that doesn't mean I think he'd prefer the wing if you don't know who he's going to be playing with in the middle with him and Valley. I'm sure if I told him he's going to stay in the middle and play with Deluxe and Valley to start the year, he'll be pretty happy. Or put Dowdy back up there with those two guys. There's lots of options there. I think you're honestly you're looking for best fit, best available. We want to be a team that plays with a ton of pace. Relentless offensive hockey team, and then there's the glue guy type of mentality. There's I'm trying to be as patient as I can, and for numerous reasons. One is, we still don't know exactly where things stand with the league, and um, you know, uh, Tony and I have to have those conversations on budgets and how many weeks a year is going to be and all that fun stuff. So I'm just trying to wait. There's a lot of players out there. Not many leagues are really signing a ton of guys right now either. You don't know what's going to happen in North America with the American Hockey League and the East Coast Hockey League. That might start even later than we're projected to start. So you might find some guys that are really, really itching to get a deal done that maybe you wouldn't have been able to get before. So I'm pretty confident with the group that we have coming back, and then being able to fill in some gaps along the way here. I like the way we're looking. You know, there's no question about it. I think we got the majority of the guys done that we wanted to get done, and then there's still some options out there for some guys that were here last year. You know, but now it's just kind of wait and see what happens and what the money's going to look like.
Okay, well, we thank you for a hell of a day today, for breaking the internet, for setting all kind of records on our social media, and for keeping Dave Burnham up until the early hours, putting all those little videos together. Aaron, thank you for that, and good luck with the rest of the signings. I'm sure we'll be speaking again shortly. Take care.
Thanks, guys. It was fun. See ya.